people. Okay, does that work? Okay. I'm the obvious person to give this speech. English is my second language, and everyone knows me to be equally as voiced as Annie and Catherine, so buckle up. What a year, right? While I was trying to write this end of the year recap speech, there were so many things I wanted to mention that I just didn't know where to begin. So let's start at the beginning, preseason. Preseason at Northwestern is synonymous with past pretending she did the summer running, Laken's body being covered with a rash, and trying to construct masculine nicknames for the freshmen. Speaking of the freshmen, we have Caitlin. Caitlin, if Hoots hasn't told you yet, is from Boston, just as her, and she has to put on 200 SPF sunscreen in overcast and rainy weather. There's Sabs, our little princess. There needs to be an extra hour in the day for the amount of time it takes her to do her hair. Flo, that always aggressively thinks about the hot cookie bar and has a schedule for every cafeteria on campus memorized. Mac, just the cutest and most loving person in the whole team. And Kristen puts the wild in a wildcat, not only on the bench, but also when we give her the aux scored. I hope one day she will not look at us in disappointment when at the pre-game dance parties. One of the funniest memories I have from preseason was moving in day. We always help all the freshmen to move in, and normally not the whole team is needed for that. But that wasn't the case this year. Sabrina needed the entire team to help her. I'm pretty sure she packed her whole house and fit in her dorm room. Skipping forward in time, season started. Our first game was with a win against Stanford. As Laken would say, take that, Jordan. With that hot start, what could go wrong? Well, UConn happened. Trace had some comforting words for us in the huddle. The 7 kinds of looks like a 1. Don't worry, we're playing them in exactly 91 days and we're coming back for them. We bounced back with a win over Providence and also played BC and Duke. Although that weekend it looked like the ACC was the strongest conference in the nation, we proved them otherwise with 4 Big Ten teams in the Elite 8 round. Anyway, this all happened during the 10-day trip. The 10-day trip. We played hockey, we traveled, we ate, we visited the Mansfields and the Calvises. We ate more. Did I mention we already ate? Big Ten big girls. Time for our first home game against Temple, where lots of people scored their first goal. I'll never forget how Hootsie scored an amazing stroke, grabbed the ball, dropped it 2 seconds later, and sprinted off of the field. Job done, right, Hoots? We had a 4-game winning streak after beating Temple, Kent State, Ohio State, and Louisville. September 15, 2017 is a day we should never forget. We broke the overtime curse. And passed it on to Ohio State, but I don't think we feel too bad about that. We won 4 overtimes last year, after having won none in 2 years. Thanks, Ava, for breaking it. So many and Puck kept on our OT winning streak, and we're going to keep it going next year, although I hope we don't need to. We played Rutgers in our first game for the Big Ten tournament, where Pats made a WSBN top 10 after saving us with their over-the-head tip-in the last minute of the game. Woohoo! This team was all about resilience. We battled back a lot of times after the UConn game, the Penn State, where we did end up losing, but we put up a great fight, the crazy Iowa game, which ended up in a 5-4 win in OT, the Rutgers quarterfinal, and the Louisville NCAA Sweet 16 round. But if you think we fought hard during the games, you've never experienced one of our competition day practices. These practices result in everyone getting frustrated and physical, even Manny. When both teams have to call out how many points they scored for that round, they always wait for the other team to say it first and then add 1 point, because that's how many points they got. We do everything to avoid Hoots and Curdy going against each other, because that will most likely result in a physical collision, where Curdy gets mad and Hoots just starts laughing. Laken turns in, sorry Laken, love you very much. Laken turns into the most annoying person on the field by being really picky about all the rules. If you're not following the rules or just bending them a little bit, she'll call you out for it. And lastly, the coaches, who are reffing our games and saying they make bad calls on purpose. Not so sure about that. They became coaches for a reason, right? Again, this team made history, making the NCAAs and beating Louisville, which allowed us to play Michigan in the Elite 8. Not going to talk about Michigan too much, so it'll probably be too emotional. But we're coming back to get payback next year. We got so far because of all the parents and other fans that traveled with us all the time, especially Mr. Miller with his flag. We need to find a new one for next year, so we need to find a volunteer. I remember when we walked out of the hotel to the bus for our first NCAA game, and all the parents were in the lobby waiting for us and cheering for us. They truly were the extra member on the team. The parents did not only support us within the US, but even when we traveled over the pond. An unbelievable amount of parents traveled with us to the greatest country of all, the Netherlands. We outnumbered the Dutch parents that were cheering for their own daughters in their own country. Props to our parents. Talking about parents, I also have to mention the tailgates. I know that every team will probably be jealous of all the tailgates we had. At one point in the season, Tracy asked us to only eat one cookie. At the tailgates, that never worked. There were just too many good options, and Big Ten big girls who like to eat. We even had some tailgates this year that looked like weddings. Shout outs to the Series and the Solomons. On a sad note, we lost Ellie, and of course our team baby Duncan. But we got Georgia. Georgia's like our cool older sister and a great addition to the team that will help us get even further next year. Someone that I have to mention, Jill. She's not here. This was her first year with us, and she was definitely an asset to the team. You can't mess with Jill, and people, Steve, Paz, probably have experienced that multiple times. This was a really successful year for us. We bolstered the largest defeat of a team under Tracy in history when we played UConn. Just kidding. But seriously, when we broke the OT curse, staying unbeaten at home for a whole season, that's 9 games at home. And of course, making the NCAAs to the Elite 8, the farthest Tracy's team at Northwestern have gotten. I'm so glad that our seniors got to end their careers with so much to be proud of. Preseason starts in 72 days, and our first game is in 91 days. Even though this year was already a great year for us, I know a lot more is going to come next year. This is only the beginning. Go Cats.